Be cautious, because fear is waiting for you in this tale. At the start, there's a person carrying the body of Anna Fritz to a funeral home. She passed away in a bathroom during a private party, and her autopsy will happen the next morning. This person arranges her body with others, uncovers her face, and takes photos using a phone. Later on, Ivan and Javi enter the same hospital and ask to meet this person. Ivan chats with Powell in the hospital lobby and asks if there are more photos. Powell laughs, saying they're headed to a party. Ivan invites Powell along, but Powell has work until midnight, which is about an hour away. He guides them to dumpsters at the back, warning them not to touch the yellow one as it contains waste. Javi is upset due to the smell. Powell takes out drinks and reluctantly accepts a drink. He explains he can't go to the party due to more work the next morning. They suggest he find another job, but Powell likes working in the funeral home. The three friends raise their glasses to Anna Fritz, and Powell hurries them. Ivan asks about Anna's body and if Powell examined it. Powell confirms, but this concerns Javi. Powell mentions her body will stay in the hospital's funeral home until the next day. He leads them inside the hospital, and Javi thinks they're joking about going to the funeral home. Ivan insists. They use an elevator to the basement and, navigating through corridors, How suggests pretending to be lost if they encounter anyone. When they get to the funeral home, he unlocks the door and takes them inside. Javi freaks out and wants to leave because he's scared they'll get caught and won't be able to talk their way out of it. But the others convince him to stay, and then Powell shows them the dead actress's body. Javi gets super creeped out because he's never seen a dead body before. Then Powell pulls the sheet off and reveals the body of an old lady. He makes fun of them and Ivan asks to see Anna Fritz. When Ivan uncovers her face, Powell says she doesn't even look dead. Ivan even grabs her boobs and tells Javi to do the same, but he's hesitant. They all do some coke and then start talking about how they'd totally bang a dead chick. Powell even admits to sleeping with a dead teenage girl. Ivan asks if he's done it with Anna Fritz too, and Javi jokes that he probably will. Ivan even says he wants to sleep with her and Javi is like, dude, that's messed up. They decide to leave, but Ivan wants to stay and have some alone time with the corpse. How agrees and tells Javi to wait in the other room until they're done. Javi is totally grossed out and can't believe his friends would do something like that. How doesn't see anything wrong with it though. So, upon Ivan's return, he engages in the same actions. Javi is the sole individual who recognizes the issue with their actions. However, Ivan always conjures up some twisted rationale, equally demeaning to women, to justify his participation, despite Javi's concerns. Ivan proceeds to engage in his actions, but the situation worsens when the actress, Anna, unexpectedly awakens. This startles Powell, leading the other two to rush into the funeral home. Anna lies motionless on a funeral slab, observing them. Javi approaches her first, advising her to relax. He instructs the others to bring water, and when they hesitate, he seizes the water and gives it to her. Amid the group's fear, Javi queries Powell about their next steps, whether to call a doctor or take Anna to the hospital. He then inquires if she's cold and fetches something to cover her. Ivan questions Powell if Anna noticed him and knows what transpired, to which he assumes she did. Javi returns, clothing Anna in a medical gown. Ivan intervenes, asserting the necessity to strategize, covering up everything they need to conceal. As they hear footsteps approaching the funeral parlor, Javi pleads for an explanation, yet the others persist in concealing Anna's face and crouching down. Another body is brought in by a staff member, but Anna's efforts to get his attention go mostly unnoticed. Javi hurriedly returns to her side, attempting to reassure her. Ivan directs him to another room to discuss the matter. Both Hao and Ivan are consumed by terror regarding potential repercussions if their actions were discovered. They argue that due to Anna's fame, news of the incident would spread widely across various media outlets, including newspapers and television. Jasix attempts to convince them that she lacks awareness of the actions they've taken against her and asserts that she didn't witness them. However, Powell is apprehensive about her claims and believes otherwise. Ivan corroborates this by stating that she will eventually speak about the incident. Despite this, Jasix remains nonchalant and disregards Powell and Ivan's involvement. Jasix expresses the desire to disregard what's been missed and tells them that everyone assumes she's deceased. He even suggests killing her, but Jasix avoids discussing the matter further and remains indifferent to Pao and Ivan's roles in the situation. Javi exits the funeral home and starts moving the body out. Ivan intervenes and pleads with Javi not to do so due to the fear of legal consequences. The only rational friend questions whether they truly comprehend the gravity of their request, which essentially involves asking Javi to end her life. This frightens Anna. Javi instructs Ivan to unlock the door, and as he attempts to comply, they realize the keys are outside, left by Pao. An altercation ensues between Ivan and Javi, with Ivan almost causing severe harm to Javi before Pao intervenes. Anna checks on Javi and reports his deteriorating condition with significant blood loss. Pao enters with a cloth to tend to Javi's head wound. Ivan apologizes to Javi and proposes leaving him at a hospital anonymously instead of involving authorities. They move Javi to another room while he's barely conscious. Ivan instructs Pao to bring Anna into the room so they can contact someone from the funeral home to unlock the door. Meanwhile, Ivan advises Javi to lie to the police about the situation, specifically omitting any mention of the girl. As Ivan and Pao leave to clean up, Javi regains consciousness and apologizes to Anna, promising to seek help. However, she advises him against moving, as it could worsen his condition. When Ivan and Pao return with Anna, she informs them of Javi's critical state and profuse bleeding. Despite this, Javi dismisses her concerns. Pao hurries back into the funeral home to meet other staff members, while Ivan keeps Anna quiet. Pao informs a colleague that the night shift orderly, Javi, locked him inside. Paul successfully extracts the co-worker from the location, leaving Anna and Javi alone with Ivan. Ivan checks on Javi, only to find that he has already passed away. Ivan attempts to revive Javi, prompting Anna to cry as a result of his death. The power in the place fluctuates, and Ivan informs Powell about Javi's demise. Ivan explains to the orderly that even if they had taken Jasix to an upper floor, his condition was so dire that he wouldn't have survived. Powell predicts they'll be imprisoned for life, but Ivan suggests they dispose of Javi's body as well. Anna questions whether they've already committed enough wrongdoing and pledges not to disclose anything. Ivan seizes Powell and advises him to disregard Anna, emphasizing that their forthcoming actions will shape their lives irrevocably. They argue, during which Ivan endeavors to convince Powell that they share equal responsibility. He warns Powell that any revelation of the truth will expose Powell's actions. Meanwhile, Anna descends from a slab and searches Javi's pockets for his phone. Ivan inquires about their plan for removing Javi's body from the hospital, proposing the use of an emergency door and a trash can. As they enter, they spot Anna speaking on the phone. She informs them that she contacted her father, informing him only of her awakening. Ivan inspects the phone and realizes she dialed a number, learning that her father is seeking assistance. They assume the situation is resolved, assuming she called from Javi's phone. Consequently, they begin to escort her upstairs, but Anna suddenly screams. Powell aids in silencing her. Subsequently, an unfamiliar number dials Javi's phone, with Ivan picking up the call. He deduces that the call didn't connect fully, and Anna lied to them. They return Anna to their original location. Ivan strikes Anna and engages in a heated argument following her revelation that he is repulsive. Ivan directs Powell to subdue her while he procures a trash can. Powell acquires gauze and starts cutting it. Anna cautions Powell that complying with Ivan's instructions will inevitably lead to his imprisonment. She asserts that Powell is not a murderer and must prevent Ivan from executing her. Anna asserts that she owes her life to Powell. Anna pleads desperately for him to keep her by his side. Yet Powell disregards her pleas and proceeds to restrain her. During this ordeal, she informs Powell about Ivan's murder of Javi while she was present, and how Ivan had no intention of seeking medical help for Javi. Powell becomes suspicious of Anna's honesty once again and silences her with tape. Meanwhile, Ivan goes to dispose of some waste, but he gets delayed by some nurses who are smoking in the area. While Powell tidies up another room, Anna manages to remove the tape from her mouth and attempts to free her hands from the restraints. Failing in her initial attempt, she successfully gets rid of the restraints on her legs. However, her physical strength gives out, and she collapses onto the floor. Through sheer determination, she manages to crawl out of the funeral home and hides, narrowly evading Ivan's return. Ivan reports Anna's escape to Powell, prompting them to split up in search of her. Anna successfully evades capture for a time, navigating through tight spaces. Though she manages to stand briefly, her strength fails her again. Undeterred, she crawls to an elevator. Ivan catches up and drags her back to the funeral home. Just when she believes she's safe, Powell arrives. He questions Ivan about killing Javi in his absence, but Ivan merely suggests that Anna is trying to manipulate Powell. Inside, Ivan is poised to end her life. He informs Powell of their plan to smother her with bed sheets. Although both are reluctant, Ivan ultimately decides that they should proceed with the murder. They carry out the suffocation, and Anna loses control of her bladder during the horrifying ordeal. Powell assists Ivan in placing her lifeless body back on a slab, and then they dispose of Javi's body. Ivan leaves to discard the remains, while Powell cleans up the funeral home and sanitizes Anna's body to erase any traces of the gruesome events. During this time, Ivan abandons Javi's body on the roadside and leaves the hospital. Powell covers Anna's body with a sheet and readies himself for Ivan's return. Hearing Anna's coughing, Powell approaches her, instructing her to feign death. When he uncovers her, Anna's eyes open and meet his gaze. Upon Ivan's return, Powell conceals Anna and advises Ivan to depart. Despite Powell's efforts to dissuade him, Ivan insists on returning to the funeral home. Upon their return, they discover Anna standing, prompting a violent confrontation. Ivan attacks Powell, aiming to end his life. Anna intervenes, repeatedly stabbing Ivan. Powell chastises Anna, stating that they were about to leave and that her actions were unwarranted. However, Anna disregards his words and fatally stabs him as well. Please consider subscribing and enabling notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.